So, from talking about the defending Supporters Shield champion in the season preview to now talking about the defending MLS Cup champion in the season preview, which is NYCFC, who, remember, just a couple of days ago, I did the Moving Forward series episode about them, and I know there's going to be people that's going to complain that I am doing NYCFC in the season preview way too early, consider I just did a Moving Forward series episode, and it's kind of unfair that they get another video as part of a series. But as I mentioned before, I'm going in the order where I'm going to talk about teams that's going to be in CCL, because they're going to have their season started way sooner than every other team that is not going to be in the CONCACAF Champions League this season. But that being said, as I mentioned, NYCFC finished the season with a record of 14-9-11 and finished with 51 points. They scored 56 goals last season, give up 36 goals with a plus 20 goal differential. They finished fourth in the Eastern Conference, but most importantly, they defeated the playoff fertility narrative that's always labeled on them by finally winning an MLS Cup against the Portland Timbers. Last 5 seasons for this NYCFC team before they were able to win their first ever MLS Cup in only their 5th year in existence. Well, actually, not their 5th year in existence. This is, I think, it's the 6th year, or this is the 7th year that NYCFC is going to be in, because they were founded in 2015, and technically it should be the 8th season. So remember how I said they won it in 5 seasons? That technically isn't true, because in the last 5 seasons before their MLS Cup triumph, we heard about the narrative of them always not able to get past the second round. And it all started, it didn't kind of start it in 2017 when they finished 4th and got eliminated in the first round. But it's also continued in 2018, where they did finally won a playoff game, which was kind of that narrative of them finally getting a playoff win, which they weren't able to do so. But they still got eliminated in the second round and finished 3rd that season. And then in 2019, this was a huge disappointment with the way that they finished top of the East, and they looked like they were the best team in the Eastern Conference and was going to be going all the way to MLS Cup, only to fall against Atlanta United and finish second in the second round of that. And then in 2020, they of course finished 5th in the standings. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. In 2018, they got eliminated by Atlanta United in the second round. And then in 2019, I think, if I remember, I think I'm mixing it up a little bit, because I think in 2019 they also suffer a very disappointing playoff exit, because I know in 2018, when Atlanta United, of course, winning MLS Cup, one of the team that they beat was NYCFC in the second round, but I kind of don't remember in 2019 in the second round who they faced. It might have been Atlanta, and that I might be completely wrong, or it could be Toronto too. I'll probably have to kind of get back to that. Well, actually, let me take a look. Looks like the computer is not loading very fast. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna leave any NYCFC fan in the comments section to kind of correct me in terms of that, because again, I think I might have got confused myself in terms of the opponent that they got knocked out in the second round in 2019 and 2018. I generally believe, I think in 2019 it was TFC, and actually now that I think about it, it was TFC. It was the game when I think they lost. They gave up like a penalty late to lose that game. That I think that was the team that they got eliminated, and that was the game that was played at Citi Field. Then in 2020, we don't have to kind of mention what happened in that first round game, because that was definitely going to be live up to one of the most famous PK shootouts if you're an Orlando City fan, but one of the PK shoot you would never want to remember if you're an NYCFC fan, of how embarrassing that PK shoot that they were involved against Orlando City in 2020. Now, in terms of the transfer, well, there isn't really a lot of players that they signed this offseason. The only player that they kind of signed this offseason in terms of Super Draft is Kevin O'Toole. But again, the reason why they haven't really done a lot of business is because they technically done their business during the summer transfer window. Like, they got most of the guys in terms of the summer signing, and historically, this is a team that tends to spend big during the summer transfer window, because with the CFG kind of scouting department on their back, usually they tend to scout some players that during the summer transfer window with the European European teams start to spend big, this is the best time for them, of course, getting those mid-season signing and propel them to the next level. Now, in terms of player that is leaving this team, there are a couple of key players. First, you got Jesus Medina, who is going to be going to CSKA Moscow on a free after NYCFC denied his contract. Then you got Ismail Tajiri-Shradi getting picked up in the expansion draft by Charlotte before getting traded to LAFC. And then you got James Sands, a player that I thought he was maybe going to come back this season. I mean, there was that reports that he could potentially go to Europe, but he actually is going to be going to Europe and going to be joining Rangers on an 18-month loan. So technically they still have the rights to him, but I think there was also an option to buy where if he does perform well with Rangers, there's a chance that he could be staying with that team on a permanent deal. But other player that is going to be leaving this team is Gudeman Forensen, who they denied his contract, and he still have not found a club and is a free agent right now in the MLS market. Now, optimism for this NYCFC team. Well, the new batch of attacking talent. So I kind of mentioned it in my Moving Forward series episode. Guys like Talis Magno, Thiago Adrante, Santi Rodriguez, and the fact that these young attacking talent from South America, they show some flashes last season that they can really be the next core of the attack for this NYCFC team. And knowing the fact that we know that one key aspect of that attack is potentially going to be leaving in Tati Castianos. Let's see who exactly is potentially going to replace him in that spot. And then, of course, not to mention the other optimism for this team in terms of the CONCACAF Champions League, they have the easiest pass out of any MLS team. Like, if they win their first round game, they, of course, could potentially face the Colorado Rapids, and there's no doubt that I think they're going to be favored against the Rapids in that CCL game, in a rare all-MLS kind of CCL matchup. But, yeah, there's no doubt that they have the easiest path, though. In some way, they also have probably the toughest path in terms of actually having a home game in CCL, because, we know all about the problem that they have of playing at home, and that, they unfortunately will have to play their first home game in the CONCACAF Champions League at Bank of California Stadium. Now, the concerns, if you're an NYCFC fan about this team, well, how can they replace their Golden Boot winner Tati Castianos? And I mentioned, that those attacking talent that they had, that they bought in the last summer transfer window. Well, it's good that they show some flashes that they can do well, but there's no guarantee that any of them will, of course, develop in a way where it's going to be just as good of what we see in the last attacking talent core of this NYCFC team. And one of those players is Tati Castianos, who had an incredible season last year. And technically, even though he is still on the roster with NYCFC, there's just been so many rumors, the fact that he's going to be either going down to South America and going to Europe, and that I think he is going to be sold. And that if he does stay with this team at least until the summer, then that's okay. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure Tati Castianos himself, he wants to force a move to somewhere else, because he knows that there's really not much he needs to accomplish with this team. He won the MLS Cup with NYCFC, he won the Golden Boot winner, and now all you need to do is just kind of showcase that talent somewhere else in Europe. Not having a true home field advantage. So here comes the talks of them basically have to play at Yankee Stadium, which, I will say that Yankee Stadium, as bad as that stadium is, it does provide a bit of a true home field advantage for NYCFC, knowing the fact that they're familiar with the dimension and that, the small field definitely suits their playing style. Whereas it's kind of unsurprised that when they do play elsewhere where they don't have that advantage of a small field, take last year example, when they play at Red Bull Arena, they really struggle playing at that stadium because they just don't have that short field advantage. And also, I'm pretty sure they're not happy that they have to play at the home stadium that they play is basically their biggest rival. And although it's not going to happen as much this year, I think they only play once this season at Red Bull Arena, though that could always change depending on the schedule conflict that they had with the New York Yankees. And we know they're also going to be playing a couple of games at Citi Field. Yeah, it's frustrating if you're an NYCFC fan to not see this team kind of had that true home field advantage. And in some way, it's kind of also frustrating if you're an NYCFC fans have to just kind of move all around to watch your team play, because at the end of the day, as a fan, you want to go to a stadium that you are gladly to go there every single match week to watch your team play, but to just kind of move around to different stadium, it can really become a bit of a headache. And I'm pretty sure that goes the same with the players too. Like imagine, you want to establish your home ground and you want to call your turf your home field, and the fact that you play in different stadium, it's not so much of that, and it just kind of almost feels like at times you're on the road very often, even though you still kind of play in the New York area. And then the last concern for this NYCFC team, and this is not really that much of a concern because, as I mentioned, that new batch of attacking talent is eventually going to take over their old core. But you also have a sense that, you wonder how much does Maxi Morales have left in the tank. Now, last season, it was an incredible year that he has, and in some way he kind of turned back the clock during the playoff performance. But you don't know if that's going to happen again, and especially for a guy that have been having a lot of injury issue. And last season, it was kind of a miracle the fact that he didn't suffer a lot of injuries and perform the way that he is. But you know that there's no guarantee that that's going to be the Maxi Morales we're going to see this season, and it's just also getting to a point where maybe it's time for him to kind of getting relegated to bench duty, and we'll see how much he, of course, enjoy that, because I know if you're a star player, you'd never like to be relegated into bench duty and be a super sub. But we'll see. Maybe if that's going to be the case, or maybe we'll see that Max Morales will continue that incredible form that he had in the playoffs into the new season. MVP of this NYCFC team. So I know it's easy to choose Maxi Morales as the MVP, but I'm actually going to go with Anton Tinnerholm. I mean, this team, it is nothing short of a miracle. The fact that NYCFC was able to win an MLS Cup after Anton Tinnerholm went out with an injury. Like, he was the heart and soul of this team. I even said that their MLS Cup contention hope is pretty much gone up in flames after they found out that Tinnerholm is out for the season. And although he's probably not going to be back in this team until the middle of the season, when they get him back, he's going to make a big impact to this team. Because not only the fact that he is the best fullback in this league, but he pretty much does everything for this team. He's a good defender, and he can also bomb up on the wing, insert some of the most delicious crosses that you will see in the league. And I think in the end he's got to be the MVP, even though this is one of the rare times that I go with an MVP player that isn't even going to be available for opening day and for a while, because of him still coming back from that season-ending injury that he suffered last season. Comeback player of the year. Well, this is a simple one, and that, of course, is Abear. I mean, I truly still believe that Abear can rediscover his good form that he had in the first season. I mean, last year with him finally coming back from that torn ACL that he suffered from the previous season, yeah, he definitely will still look like he's still becoming one of the most cursed striker in this league. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that when you come back from a season-ending injury like he did, it's going to be tough for him to get back into the roster. But with now knowing the fact that Tati Castianos is going to be sold off and he could maybe be the number 9 talisman going forward, I have a feeling he could potentially have a good comeback season. And that's even though he is starting to approach into his 30s. And when you, of course, trying to recover from a season-ending injury when you're in your 30s, it is definitely tough to trying to come back compared to your younger. But I just believe that we're going to see the A-Bear that we saw in the first season, that just came into the league and just light up the league with 15 goals for this team. And many thought that he was going to be the guy that, there was even times where he was the go-to option, and it wasn't Tati Castianos the one that was the go-to option. I believe that was also the time when they put A-Bear up front, and then they decided to put Castianos on the wing area, which, it works out for A-Bear being a lethal goal scorer, but it definitely did not work out for Tati Castianos that wants to play more in that central striker role. Now, expectation for this NYCFC team. Well, the good thing about this year is that, after winning MLS Cup, I know the expectation will always be, well, let's repeat champ. And I know Ronnie Dele, he probably is sending that message to the rest of the team that, they can't just relax after winning an MLS Cup. Just because they, of course, finally got over the mountain doesn't mean they have the time to, of course, relax. But at the same time, I will say that it does give them a little less pressure. The fact that, heading into this season, they don't have to worry about the narrative that has been said about them being a team that failed to make it past the second round and always suffer some playoff heartbreak. Now, that being said, this also kind of means that they maybe have that ability to do something that all teams that's going to be going to CCL that always have that tough decision of whether to focus the league or in CCL, because I think this team will definitely focus CCL very heavily, and in some cases they have to, because when you look at the path that they go through in CCL, as I mentioned in the optimism part, it's the easiest path. Like unless if they really screw up and got caught in a big upset, there is no excuse for this team to not get to the semi-final of the CONCACAF Champions League. And yes, sure, when you get to that point, you do potentially have to face a tough opponent, whether it probably could be the Seattle Sounders coming out of the other side, or maybe Club Lyon coming out of the other side too. But when you look at the bottom part of the left bracket that they're in, it's such an easy path that it'll be a big surprise if this team does not at least get into the semi-final of the CONCACAF Champions League. And then, of course, the other expectation that they know that they're going to do, actually, I spelled expectation wrong. I spelled expectation. No, that's actually not the right spelling there. I just realized that. Get big sum of money for Tati Castianos' transfer. I mean, this is an expectation that we know is going to happen. They're going to get at least 15 or 20 million. Well, I would say maybe like 10 to 20 million, because I think from what I heard last transfer rumor about Tati Castianos is that they're going to get like $12 million of him going down to South America and playing with Palmeiras. But they could definitely get more, and we'll see if they, of course, can get more of that, and whether they can, of course, use that to invest in this team that is already very rich in terms of the talent scale heading into next season. But there you have it. That is pretty much it for my season preview of NYCFC, the defending MLS Cup champion. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this video? And if you're an NYCFC fan, what's your optimism, your concern, and most importantly, your expectation? What's this year going to be like after you finally go over that mountain and win your first ever MLS Cup in club history? But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.